My sister made copies of my beach house keys and gave them to the whole family. So I created a fake rental program, charged her a $1,000 deposit, and donated her money to charity in front of everyone at the family BBQ. I'm 39 years old. I work in financial consulting. And I need to tell this story because what happened with my younger sister a few months ago still has me processing whether I went too far or if she completely deserved it. The truth is, I know the answer, but my family is divided and I need to get it all off my chest. You know, because this situation basically destroyed whatever relationship I had with Taylor, and I don't regret it one bit. I guess I should start from the beginning so you understand the full context of why I did what I did. My sister Taylor is 31. She's married to Marcus, who's like 34, and they have 3 kids. They've always had money problems. I mean, Marcus can't hold down a stable job for more than a year, and Taylor stopped working when her first kid was born like 7 years ago. I don't judge them for that. Every family does what they can, but I mention it because it's important for the story. I'm 8 years older than Taylor, never got married, no kids, and I've worked my ass off for almost 20 years to have what I have. Like 3 years ago, I bought myself a vacation house at the beach, about 2 hours from where I live, and it was literally the biggest achievement of my life. I saved for years, sacrificed a ton, and when I finally signed the papers, I felt like everything had been worth it. The house isn't anything fancy. It has 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a small but functional kitchen, and the best part is, it's a 5-minute walk from the beach. I decorated it myself with things I bought little by little, put in plants, paintings, and basically turned it into my happy place. I go there every 2 or 3 weeks when I can escape from work, sometimes alone, sometimes with friends, and it's my sanctuary. I never thought that place was going to be the center of the biggest family drama I've ever experienced, but well, here we are. It all started like 6 months ago when Taylor called me crying. She told me she was exhausted, that the kids were driving her crazy, that Marcus had lost another job, and that she desperately needed a break. She asked me if she could use the beach house for a week, like to take the kids and disconnect a bit. I honestly hesitated for a second because my house is my private space and it cost me so much to get it. But then I thought, she's my sister. She has 3 small kids. She's obviously stressed. It would be really selfish of me to say no. So I told her yes, that she could go the following week when I wasn't going to use it. And she almost screamed with happiness. She thanked me like 1,000 times, promised me they would take care of the house like it was theirs, and I thought, well, how nice to be able to help her. I gave them the keys, explained how everything worked, where the thermostat was, how to open the windows that sometimes get stuck, and told them to have fun. They left on Monday and came back on Sunday, and when I went to check the house the following week, everything was in order. They had left everything clean, nothing was broken, and they even left me a thank you note on the kitchen table. I thought, perfect. Everything went well. I feel good about having helped my sister. How naive I was. Seriously. 2 weeks later, I got a call from my Aunt Donna. Donna is my mom's sister. She lives like an hour from my beach house, and honestly, we've never been super close, but we get along well at family gatherings. She called me on a Tuesday afternoon while I was in a work meeting, so I called her back later. When she answered, she said, "Hey, Isabella. I'm calling because I want to coordinate with you to use your beach house next weekend. Taylor gave me the keys and told me I could go whenever I wanted." I literally froze. I said, "Sorry, Donna. What did you say?" And she repeated, "Yes. Taylor gave me a copy of the keys to your house and told me the family could use it. I just wanted to let you know as a courtesy so we wouldn't cross paths." I couldn't believe it. I told Donna there was a misunderstanding, that Taylor didn't have permission to give copies of the keys to anyone, and that unfortunately the house wasn't available. Donna got super uncomfortable and told me she didn't know it was a problem, that Taylor had told her it was like a family arrangement. I hung up and immediately called my cousin Catherine, because she always knows everything that's going on in the family. I asked her if she knew anything about Taylor giving out copies of my keys, and Catherine was quiet for a moment and then said, "Oh no. Did she really do that?" Apparently, Taylor had been bragging in the family WhatsApp group that she now had access to a beach house and that she had made copies of the keys to share with whoever needed them. I felt like someone had thrown a bucket of cold water on me. I checked my phone, and sure enough, there was a family WhatsApp group that I wasn't part of. You know, because I work a lot and I'm not very active in those things. And Catherine sent me screenshots. Taylor had written things like, "My sister has a beach house and she let me make copies for the family, If anyone needs to get away, let me know. There were like 5 or 6 people saying they wanted keys, including my Uncle Patrick and other cousins I barely see. I was furious, like my blood pressure shot up and I felt like my head was going to explode. I called Taylor immediately. She answered all casual, like nothing was wrong, and I said, "Why is Donna calling me saying you gave her keys to my house?" Taylor was quiet for a second and then said, "Oh, Isabella, it's not that big a deal. I just made some copies so the family could use it." "Not that big a deal?" I said, "Taylor, it's my house. I lent you my keys for 1 week. I didn't give you permission to make copies and distribute them like they were flyers." She immediately got defensive and told me I was stingy, that the family should be able to enjoy the house too, that why did I want it all to myself, if I only went every 2 weeks. She told me I was selfish and that she thought she was doing something good by sharing. I couldn't believe it. I explained to her that the house cost me years of savings, that it was my private property, that I paid the mortgage, the utilities, the maintenance, everything, and that she had no right whatsoever to make copies of my keys without my permission. Taylor started yelling that I had always been like this, that because I had more money I thought I was better than everyone, and that the family was going to think I was horrible. I told her to give me back all the keys she had made, all of them, and she hung up on me. She literally hung up the phone on me. I spent the next few days finding out how many copies she had made. I called every person mentioned in the WhatsApp group and asked them to give me back the keys. Some were embarrassed and returned them without a problem, but others, especially my Uncle Patrick, told me that Taylor had told them I had given permission, and they didn't see what the problem was. I managed to get back like 4 sets of keys, but I wasn't sure how many she had made in total, so I made the decision to change all the locks on the house. I hired a locksmith, paid him like $500 to change all the entrances, and kept the only sets of new keys. Taylor sent me like 1,000 furious messages when she found out. She told me I was being dramatic, that I had overreacted, that changing the locks was ridiculous. I responded with just one message, telling her she had completely violated my trust and that she would never have access to my house again. She responded with pure insults, basically called me everything but nice, and then blocked me on WhatsApp. I thought that was the end of it all. But the truth is, I was left with a rage that wouldn't go away. It wasn't just that she had made the copies. It was the attitude, the sense of entitlement she had. Like my house was communal family property just because she decided it should be? Then I came up with a plan. Yes, I admit it. It was pure revenge. But honestly, I felt she deserved it. Like 2 weeks after changing the locks, I sent Taylor a message. I told her I had been thinking about what happened and that maybe I had overreacted, that I understood she just wanted to do something nice for the family. I proposed that we could establish a formal family rental program for the house, like where family members could book time at the house but had to pay a refundable deposit of $1,000 to cover any damage or problems. I told her the deposit would be returned in full after each use if everything was in order, and that this way I felt protected and the family could use the house. Taylor unblocked me and responded super excited, saying it seemed perfect and that she wanted to be the first to book. I sent her a contract that looked super official. I made it myself, but I put stamps and signatures on it, and it looked totally legit. Taylor signed it without reading carefully, transferred me the $1,000, and started bragging in the family group that she had been the first to secure her reservation under the new program. And she told everyone that I had created this special system, and that she had already paid her deposit. Some family members asked her for details, and she forwarded them the contract I had sent her. Perfect, I thought. Everything is going as planned. I waited like a month without saying anything. Taylor would send me messages asking when she could go to the house, and I would tell her I was reviewing the maintenance calendar and would confirm dates soon. She waited patiently because she thought she was going to get her access to the house back. Meanwhile, I was planning the second part of my plan. My family has a tradition of having a big barbecue like twice a year where everyone comes, like uncles, cousins, grandparents, everyone. The next one was scheduled for mid-June, and I decided that was going to be the perfect moment. The day of the barbecue arrived and I went prepared with everything. The party was at my Uncle Patrick's house. There were like 30 people, and the atmosphere was relaxed. You know, music, food, kids running around everywhere. Taylor was there with Marcus and the kids, super happy, chatting with everyone. At one point, I saw she was with a group of cousins talking about the beach house and the new rental program. I heard her tell them, "Yes, My sister finally understood it was a good idea to share the house with the family. I was the first to book. Perfect opportunity. I approached the group with a beer in my hand, super casual, and said, "Hey, what are you talking about?" Taylor saw me and said, "I was telling them about the rental program for your house." I said, "Oh yeah, what program?" She laughed, thinking I was joking, and said, "The one you created, Isabella? The one with the $1,000 deposit." Everyone looked at me, waiting for me to confirm. I stayed quiet for a moment, took a sip of my beer, and said, "What program?" "Taylor. I never created any rental program." The silence was instant. Taylor's mouth dropped open, and she said, "What?" "Yes, you did. You sent me the contract and everything." I said, "Oh yeah, I sent you a contract, but it wasn't real. There is no family rental program. There never was. I just wanted to see if you were really willing to pay $1,000 for access to my house after what you did." The cousins looked at both of us, not understanding what was happening. Taylor turned red and said, "Are you telling me you scammed me?" I responded, "I didn't scam you. You gave me $1,000 voluntarily. I never said you were going to be able to use the house. In fact, let me clarify something in front of everyone so it's really clear." I addressed all the family that was nearby and said, "So everyone knows, Taylor made unauthorized copies of my house keys and distributed them to several of you without my permission. When I asked her to stop, she insulted me and told me I was selfish, so I changed all the locks, and she's never going to have access to my house again. And the contract she signed and the $1,000 she paid me don't mean anything, because I have no intention of letting her use the house ever again. My house is my private property. It's not a family resource. And the fact that she thought she could make copies of my keys shows exactly why she should never have access to it again." Taylor stood there completely humiliated. Marcus tried to defend her, saying I was going too far, but my Uncle Patrick, the same one who had received keys from Taylor, said, "Wait, Taylor made copies without your permission?" I confirmed yes, and suddenly several family members started commenting among themselves. My cousin Catherine, who already knew the whole story, said out loud, "That's super wrong. Who makes copies of keys that aren't theirs?" Taylor tried to defend herself, saying she just wanted the family to enjoy it, but my Aunt Donna, who had been the first to call me, said, "Taylor, that's not done. You can't give access to someone else's property without permission." The thing escalated quickly. Taylor started crying and yelled at Marcus that they were leaving. Marcus followed her with the kids, and I stayed there, surrounded by family asking me questions. Some supported me completely. Others thought I had been too harsh, but most agreed that Taylor had crossed the line with the keys thing. The best part of all is that someone recorded part of the confrontation and uploaded it to the family WhatsApp group. Yes, I know. It sounds horrible, but that's my family. Everything ends up documented. The following days were incredible. Taylor became the family joke. People started making memes about her, like photos with text like, "When you make copies of keys that aren't yours," or "That face when your plan to take advantage goes wrong." My younger cousin even made a TikTok imitating her crying at the barbecue, and although I know that was wrong, I'm not going to lie, I laughed. Taylor sent me furious messages demanding I return her $1,000, saying what I did was illegal and she was going to sue me. I responded with just one photo, the receipt of a donation I made to an animal protection organization for $1,000 in her name. I captioned it, "Thanks for your generous contribution to a good cause." She went crazy. She sent me like 50 messages threatening me with legal things that never happened. Marcus also wrote me, saying I had destroyed his wife and that I was a horrible person. I blocked them both. My mom called me asking me to work things out with Taylor, but I explained the whole situation from the beginning, and although she thought my revenge had been excessive, she understood why I was so angry. I told her that Taylor had violated my trust in the worst way, and that public humiliation was the least she deserved. Like a week after the barbecue, I sent a formal email to the whole family establishing clear rules about my beach house. I told them it was private property, that it wasn't available for family use, that there would never be a rental program, and that anyone who wanted to visit it needed my explicit written permission with at least 1 month's notice. I also clarified that only I had keys and that copies wouldn't be allowed under any circumstances. Some family members responded supporting me, others didn't respond at all, but the message was crystal clear. Since then, like 4 months have passed. Taylor and I don't talk at all. At family gatherings, she completely avoids me, and I do the same with her. The family still teases her about it, especially when there's alcohol involved. At the last gathering, my cousin asked her if she needed him to lend her his keys to anything, and everyone laughed. Taylor left crying again, and Marcus got mad at everyone. But honestly, nobody feels too bad for her because what she did was objectively wrong. My mom keeps asking me to forgive Taylor because she's my sister and because at the end of the day, family is important. I tell her maybe someday, but it's not going to be soon. What bothers me most isn't just that she made the copies, it's that to this day she hasn't admitted she was wrong. She's never sincerely apologized to me. She just cries and plays the victim saying, everyone attacked her and that I'm cruel. She doesn't understand that what she did was a massive violation of my privacy and my boundaries. Last week, I ran into her at the supermarket. We were in different aisles, but we saw each other. She looked at me with so much hatred that I literally felt chills. I just kept walking like nothing. I don't feel even a little bit guilty about what I did. Maybe some people think I went too far, that the revenge was too elaborate or cruel, but for me, it was justice. She thought she could take advantage of my generosity and do whatever she wanted with my property without consequences. She learned the hard way that actions have repercussions. My beach house is still my refuge. I go every 2 weeks, as always, sometimes alone, sometimes with friends who respect my space and understand how much it means to me. I changed the Wi-Fi code, put security cameras outside just in case, and I have all the keys under absolute control. I'm never going to make the mistake of trusting so easily again, not even family. Sometimes I wonder if the relationship with Taylor can be recovered someday. Honestly, I don't know. Part of me misses my younger sister, the person I thought I could trust. But another part of me knows that person maybe never really existed. Or maybe money and property brought out the worst in her. I don't know. What I do know is that I established a clear boundary, and I'm going to maintain it no matter what. The family now sees me differently. Some respect me more for having defended my boundaries so firmly. Others think I'm vindictive and cruel. I honestly don't worry much about what they think. At the end of the day, it's my house, my property, my space that took me years to get, and nobody has the right to use it without my explicit permission. If that makes me the bad guy in the story for some people, so be it. I'd rather be the bad guy with clear boundaries than the nice one that everyone can take advantage of. The $1,000 I donated in Taylor's name were the best investment I could have made. Every time I remember her face when she realized there was no rental program, it gives me a satisfaction that I probably shouldn't admit but is completely real. It was theatrical. It was public, and it was exactly what I needed to close that chapter and make it clear that you don't mess with me. I guess in the end this story doesn't have a happy ending, like family reconciliation and hugs. It's more like an ending of established boundaries and applied consequences. And for me, that's enough for now.